The United States $1 coin dated 2001. P is a fascinating piece of modern American numismatic history, bearing inscriptions such as United States of America, $1, In God We Trust, Liberty, and E Pluribus Unum, each word carrying meaning beyond the metal it is stamped on, for together they reflect the philosophy, identity, and legacy of the nation that produced it. The 2001 P dollar is part of the Sacagawea Dollar series, introduced in 2000 to replace the Susan B. Anthony dollar, and it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the letter P below the date. These coins were minted in a distinctive golden-colored alloy, not made of actual gold, but a copper core composition with manganese brass cladding that gives the coin its warm luster and smooth appearance. On the obverse is the portrait of Sacagawea, the young Shoshone woman who guided Lewis and Clark across the American West, symbolizing courage, exploration, and the contributions of indigenous people to the formation of the United States, and in her arms she carries her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, representing new life, future generations, and the idea that America's story continues forward. The word liberty stands prominently above her portrait, reminding the holder that the United States was founded on the ideal of personal freedom, while In God We Trust, first mandated on U.S. currency in the 19th century and later reaffirmed as a national motto, reflects the historical religious sentiment embedded in American culture and governance. The reverse of the coin for the 2001 issue typically features a soaring bald eagle with spread wings in flight, designed by Thomas D. Rogers, surrounded by 17 stars that honor the number of states in the Union at the time of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Beneath the eagle appears the traditional motto E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one, a phrase that captures the unification of different states, cultures, and people into a single nation, reminding collectors that the United States was built through diversity, cooperation, and collective purpose. The inscription United States of America arches over the reverse with $1 below, clearly defining the coin's legal tender value. Though in modern use the 2001 P dollar is more often collected than spent in daily transactions, as dollar coins never fully replaced paper currency in American commerce. Produced during the second year of the Sacagawea Dollar series, the 2001 P is relatively common in circulated condition, but examples preserved in brilliant, uncirculated or proof-like states hold greater collectible interest because they retain their rich golden tone, sharp strike, and original mint luster that numismatists admire. Beyond monetary worth, the coin represents a chapter in the ongoing evolution of U.S. currency, an attempt to modernize coinage with improved durability, tactile differences, and artistic symbolism that could be both functional and meaningful. Holding the 2001 P dollar is like holding a compressed narrative, a tribute to exploration, a reminder of national ideals such as liberty and unity, a reflection of cultural identity expressed through In God We Trust and E Pluribus Unum, and a small metallic ambassador of American history traveling through hands, pockets, collections, and perhaps generations, carrying its story long after its minting year. While some coins fade and wear through commercial circulation, the 2001 P dollar endures as a golden emblem of heritage, artistry, and national pride, proving that even a single coin can be a museum of ideas, a document of history, and a testament to the ongoing American journey carved into metal for centuries to last. Next top. The United States of America $1 2009 coin, inscribed with the proud mottos In God We Trust, Liberty, and E Pluribus Unum, stands as a detailed reflection of the nation's evolving identity, monetary history, and cultural heritage, and holding such a coin is like holding a compact piece of American philosophy minted into metal. The year 2009 is important in the dollar coin timeline because it falls within the Presidential Dollar Program and also the historic Native American Dollar series, meaning coins of this date can feature portraits of American presidents: William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Zachary Taylor, or the annually changing Sacagawea reverse honoring Native American contributions. The inscriptions themselves speak volumes. Liberty represents the foundational principle on which the United States was built, reflecting freedom not only from colonial rule, but also the broader human aspiration toward rights, opportunity, and self-determination. In God We Trust, a phrase first added to U.S. coinage during the Civil War and later made the national motto, expresses a long-standing cultural sentiment, the moral and spiritual belief that many Americans historically felt guided the nation, and its presence on the coin is the continuation of tradition more than a statement of monetary function. Meanwhile, e pluribus unum, which translates from Latin into out of many, one, symbolizes unity, the merging of diverse states, cultures, and people into a single sovereign nation, and on a $2009 this motto becomes a message engraved in metal reminding every holder that American identity is not singular but collective. These coins are minted in a golden manganese brass alloy, giving them a warm, gold-like appearance even though they are not made of precious metal, and this composition was carefully chosen so the coin would resist tarnish, feel distinct from other denominations, and stand out both visually and historically. The obverse side of each presidential $2009 displays a sharply detailed portrait of the respective U.S. president honored that year, along with his name, term of office, and the inscriptions that crown the meaning of the coin. On the reverse of presidential dollars sits the Statue of Liberty, towering, torch raised, symbolizing enlightenment and the promise of hope, her figure blending neoclassical art with national identity, and below her is the denomination $1, bold and unmistakable. Meanwhile, if the 2009 coin is the Native American dollar, the obverse still depicts Sacagawea and her infant, while the reverse features a design unique to that year, such as agriculture, diplomacy, military service, or other contributions of Native Americans, meaning that every 2009 Native American dollar is not only currency, but storytelling metal, marking chapters of history often overlooked in books, but preserved forever in coinage. Although worth $1 in commerce, most 2009 dollars rarely circulate in everyday life because Americans overwhelmingly prefer paper banknotes for the $1 denomination, causing these coins to flow more toward collectors, museums, ceremonial gifting, and historical preservation rather than cash registers. Many survive in excellent condition, with glossy surfaces and clear detail, making them valued as modern collectibles, especially in uncirculated or mint-sealed quality. A $2009 coin, therefore, becomes more than currency. Its design reflects political history, its lettering carries the nation's voice, its metallic shine preserves cultural memory, and its continued existence reminds us that money can be both a tool of exchange and a carrier of identity. When looked at closely, the date 2009 is not just a number. It is a timestamp marking a moment in the United States' numismatic evolution, a period when the country used its coinage to honor leaders, recognize indigenous contributions, express unity through e pluribus unum, uphold tradition through In God We Trust, and reaffirm the timeless principle of liberty, turning a single dollar into a monument of memory small enough to fit in a palm, yet deep enough to represent centuries of American story. Next top. The United States of America $1 1979 coin, bearing the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, stands as one of the most culturally significant modern American coins because it represents the first year of the Susan B. Anthony Dollar series, a coin that marked a major turning point in U.S. numismatic history in terms of size, design, public response, and monetary circulation. And when one holds this coin in hand, it tells the story of a nation transitioning into a new era of currency efficiency while honoring a woman who dedicated her life to social reform, women's rights, and the suffrage movement. The obverse, head side, of the $1,979 features the portrait of Susan B. Anthony, engraved with a strong and determined expression to symbolize her lifelong struggle for equality, surrounded by the word liberty at the top, representing the foundational principle upon which the United States was established, and beneath her portrait lies the motto, In God We Trust, a phrase officially adopted on U.S. coinage to reflect the spiritual and moral values historically recognized by the nation. The date 1979 sits prominently, marking the first year this coin was issued, replacing the larger Eisenhower dollar that circulated from 1971 to 1978. This change was intended to create a more convenient, compact coin for everyday use, especially for vending and transportation systems. Although the public initially resisted the change because the new dollar so closely resembled a quarter in size, color, and texture, causing confusion in transactions. On the reverse, tail side, of the 1979 $1 coin appears the striking image of an American bald eagle landing on the surface of the moon, clutching an olive branch of peace in its talons, a design adapted from the Apollo 11 mission insignia in tribute to America's achievement of landing humans on the moon in 1969, signifying strength, peace, exploration, and national pride. Above the eagle is inscribed United States of America, and below it reads $1, while near the edge one finds the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, a reflection of a nation built from many states, cultures, and people uniting under a single constitutional identity. The 1979 issue was minted at 3 United States mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S, with some proof versions showcasing more polished surfaces and crisp strike details, while circulation strikes display a more satin-like finish from mass production. Collectors often pay attention to key varieties such as the 1979 S Type 1 and Type 2 proof distinctions, where differences in the mint mark style create value variations, and the 1979 P wide rim / near date variety, considered more desirable because the date is positioned closer to the raised edge, making it visually distinct from the far more common narrow rim version. Composed of copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core, the coin has a diameter of approximately 26.5 millimeters and weighs around 8.1 grams, giving it a smaller, lighter feel than earlier silver dollars, which once held intrinsic melt value. By 1979, the US dollar coin was purely fiat-based. Its worth defined not by precious metal content, but by governmental backing and its purpose within the economic system. Although this new, efficient coin was intended to replace the $1 bill, the public's lack of enthusiasm kept the paper note alive, and as a result, the $1,979, despite its innovation and historical meaning, saw relatively limited long-term circulation, making it a fascinating subject of study today because it exists at a crossroads between practicality and public perception. Over time, the coin became more appreciated for its historical narrative than for everyday spending, evolving into a collectible piece rather than a widely used currency. And today, when one examines the coin closely, every detail, from the angular border of the obverse portrait meant to resemble a moon-like horizon, to the stars surrounding Anthony echoing the theme of American exploration, reflects deliberate symbolism. The presence of "I in God we trust" represents spiritual reflection and governance. Liberty expresses freedom not only of the nation but of the individual, and E pluribus unum reminds us that unity is the cornerstone of the United States, while the date 1979 marks the beginning of a series that, though not immediately embraced, eventually became recognized as a bold step in currency modernization. Thus, the 1979 $1 coin is more than metal, it is a bridge next top. The United States of America $1 1999 P coin, marked with Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E pluribus unum, represents the closing chapter of the Susan B. Anthony dollar series, making it one of the most historically significant modern U.S. coins because 1999 was the final year of production before the introduction of the golden-colored Sacagawea dollar in 2000, and when one studies this coin closely, it becomes not just a monetary object but a reflection of a nation transitioning from a silver-like composition to a newly envisioned era of dollar currency. The obverse features the strong portrait of Susan B. Anthony, one of America's most influential women, a pioneer of suffrage, equality, and educational reform, engraved to show determination and resolve, her gaze slightly upward as though fixed on a future of justice and civil rights, surrounded above by the word liberty, which mirrors her life work demanding freedom for all citizens, while beside her sits the motto "I in God We Trust," representing America's recognition of faith and moral foundation, and beneath her portrait lies the date 1999 with a P mint mark signifying production at the Philadelphia Mint, the only mint to strike circulation coins that year. The reverse displays the iconic image of an American bald eagle landing on the surface of the moon, wings spread and talons grasping an olive branch symbolizing peace rather than conquest, a design inspired by Apollo 11's historic moon landing, intended to honor America's achievement in space exploration, scientific progress, and technological leadership. And surrounding the eagle are 13 stars representing the original colonies, while above are the inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum, the Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, acknowledging that the nation is built from many states, peoples, and histories becoming a unified republic, and below rests the denomination $1, boldly declaring the coin's monetary value. The $1,999 is composed of copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core, weighing approximately 8.1 grams and measuring about 26.5 millimeters in diameter, giving it a similar appearance to a quarter, which was one reason the public resisted using the coin, as people often confused it with smaller denominations, causing frustration in vending machines, change counters, and daily transactions, ultimately preventing the coin from replacing the traditional $1 paper note as the government originally intended. This 1999 P issue exists because of an unexpected shortage of dollar coins requested by the U.S. Postal Service for stamp vending machines, prompting the Mint to revive production of the Susan B. Anthony dollar for one final year after a 17-year gap, since regular circulation had ceased in 1981. Therefore, this last year release is not only rare in terms of history, but symbolic of how the economy and public demand can revive a coin even after its initial discontinuation. Most 1999 P dollars were placed into circulation, meaning many show signs of wear, scratches, and contact marks from distribution and machine handling, but uncirculated pieces with sharp luster are more desirable to collectors, and proof versions minted separately at San Francisco exhibit mirror-like surfaces, frosted details, and higher clarity. When holding a 1999 P Anthony dollar, one holds the final breath of a coin series representing decades of struggle, reform, and national change, as Susan B. Anthony herself stands as a reminder of courage against injustice. The eagle on the moon embodies progress towards the unknown. Liberty expresses the promise of freedom. Indiana God We Trust symbolizes the nation's spiritual conscience. And E pluribus unum reinforces unity across diversity. The 1999 P$1 is the last silver-colored U.S. dollar ever intended for circulation, a final echo of the Eisenhower and Anthony era before the golden Sacagawea dollar transformed American coinage aesthetics forever. Though some Americans barely noticed this final minting at the time, history later recognized its importance, and today collectors seek it for the same reason one values an ending chapter in a book. It marks completion, transition, memory, and legacy. In essence, the 1999 P$1 coin is more than copper-nickel metal. It is the conclusion of a story of social change, the gateway to a new millennium of U.S. currency, a relic of technological advancement, and a testament to the ongoing journey of freedom, equality, innovation, and national identity, silent yet powerful, ordinary yet unforgettable, holding within next top. The United States of America $1 1776, 1976, D coin, bearing the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and E pluribus unum, stands as one of the most historically meaningful coins minted in the 20th century, created to honor the 200-year anniversary of the nation's independence, a milestone known as the bicentennial. When this dollar was produced, the country was celebrating not just 2 centuries of freedom, but also the endurance of democratic ideals, national identity, and the revolutionary spirit that transformed 13 colonies into a sovereign republic. And the presence of 1776 to 1976 on the coin is not merely a date, but a symbolic bridge connecting the struggle of the past with the progress of the present, commemorating the moment the United States declared itself free from British rule through the signing of the Declaration of Independence under the leadership of figures like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, whose ideals of liberty, natural rights, and equality became the backbone of the American nation. The obverse side of the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar features a strong, dignified portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th president and a 5-star general during World War II, chosen not only for his leadership during global conflict but also for symbolizing modern American power, stability, and unity. while above his head stands the word liberty, a reminder of the nation's core principle for which millions have struggled and sacrificed, and the phrase, "In God we trust," rests proudly, representing the spiritual and moral foundation many Americans associate with their freedom, while below the portrait is the mint mark D, signifying that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities responsible for producing circulating coinage in large volume during the 1970s. The reverse of this special bicentennial edition is what truly sets it apart from regular Eisenhower dollars, depicting an image of the Liberty Bell superimposed against the backdrop of the moon, a design selected through a national competition, blending two powerful symbols, the Liberty Bell representing independence and the moon symbolizing America's greatest technological achievement of the century, the Apollo lunar mission, which placed humankind beyond Earth for the first time and showcased the forward momentum of the American nation, making this coin both a tribute to the historic birth of the country and a celebration of its future potential. Encircling this imagery is the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. A phrase deeply rooted in the identity of the United States as a nation formed through unity of states, cultures, and peoples. And on this coin, that motto gains even more weight as it connects the spirit of 1776 with the collaborative triumphs of the 20th century, such as space exploration, industrial growth, and global influence, the alloy used in most 1776, 1976, D. Eisenhower dollars intended for circulation is a copper, nickel-clad composition, durable, practical, and suitable for mass use, though some special collector versions were also made in 40% silver, especially in mint and proof sets, making certain variations more valuable depending on condition, rarity, and preservation. And while millions of these coins were minted, the true worth of a piece is often tied to factors such as its strike sharpness, surface originality, lack of scratches, or wear, luster quality, and whether it has been preserved in high-grade condition, because pristine uncirculated examples and proof versions remain desirable among collectors, not only for material reasons, but also for the historical pride that this commemorative coin represents. The bicentennial $1 was not just a unit of currency, but a circulating monument, a reminder in every hand and pocket of 1976 that the freedoms enjoyed by citizens had been earned through revolution and safeguarded through generations. And for those who carry or collect the coin today, it serves as a miniature time capsule of national celebration, patriotic reflection, and artistic expression, symbolizing the unity of a nation that began with brave defiance in 1776 and reached technological heights by landing on the moon just decades before this coin was minted, making it a remarkable embodiment of heritage, courage, progress, and unwavering belief in liberty. Next top. The United States of America $1 1776 to 1976 coin is one of the most historically rich and culturally meaningful pieces of American currency, minted to commemorate the 200th anniversary of American independence, a national celebration known as the bicentennial, and this coin carries inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, each of which reflects a deep layer of American identity, pride, and philosophy, because the dates 1776 to 1976 symbolically link the birth of the nation through the signing of the Declaration of Independence with the modern United States 2 centuries later, reminding every citizen and collector who holds this dollar that freedom came from sacrifice, unity, and vision, and the word liberty across the obverse stands as a tribute to the foundational principle upon which the United States was created, representing not only release from British rule, but also the continuing responsibility to uphold civil rights, democracy, and justice. Below and beside the portrait we see, In God We Trust, a phrase reflecting the moral and spiritual reliance of the nation throughout its history, while the motto, E Pluribus Unum, Latin for out of many, one, encapsulates the powerful idea that the United States is a union woven from diverse states, cultures, and individuals who collectively form a single nation, strong not in sameness, but in unity, cooperation, and shared purpose. And this message fits perfectly within the theme of the bicentennial, which celebrated both the struggles and achievements of 2 centuries of national growth. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, chosen not only because he was a respected leader and military general during World War II, but also because his presidency represented an era of strength, structure, and forward movement for America, and this portrait, bold, clear, and realistic, was meant to convey the enduring reliability and leadership of the United States. However, it is the reverse side of the coin that makes this bicentennial dollar unique and instantly recognizable, displaying the Liberty Bell in the foreground and the moon in the background, a design selected through a national competition to fuse the revolutionary origins of America with its modern accomplishments, and the symbolism is profound. The Liberty Bell represents the fight for freedom in 1776, cracked yet still dignified, just like the challenges the country has endured while remaining whole. While the moon commemorates one of America's greatest achievements, the Apollo missions, showing that in just 2 centuries the nation advanced from colonial struggle to walking on another world, and together these two images communicate both heritage and future, sacrifice and innovation, revolution and exploration, making the coin not just currency, but a miniature history book cast in metal. The bicentennial dollar was minted primarily in copper-nickel-clad mint for circulation so everyday Americans could carry a piece of the bicentennial in their pockets, but special collector editions also exist in 40% silver, especially in uncirculated and proof sets, and these silver versions hold higher collectible and material value, particularly when they remain well-preserved, lustrous, and free from wear or scratches. Because the true worth of any coin extends beyond face value into condition, rarity, mintage number, strike clarity, and historical significance. And although millions of bicentennial dollars were made, making circulated examples common, high-grade pieces, especially those graded by professional services, can be valuable to collectors who appreciate them as symbols of a once-in-a-century national milestone. In 1976, this coin represented more than money. It was a celebration, a shared artifact of pride passed through hands at grocery stores and banks, held by soldiers, teachers, workers, students, and families, each coin silently reminding them of the nation's journey from the Continental Congress to the space age. And today, almost 5 decades later, the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial dollar continues to live in albums, display cases, drawers, and inherited collections as both a historical memory and a physical tribute to the American story, embodying courage, unity, liberty, and the endless potential of a country born in revolution and strengthened over time.